Fun fact number 114. Um, I'm calling it being famous. My nose is plugged up this afternoon. Gotta take some allergy pills, but I'm calling it being fun fact number 114 is being famous. I've seen a lot of things online and YouTube and shorts and whatever, um, with famous people, and sometimes even famous people that I appreciate as well and that I'm a fan of. And complaining, okay, I think complaining about their lives, which I think is um yeah, kind of um stupid. I'm gonna use the word stupid. There's so many words I could use for famous people complaining about their lives and um complaining about how the things in their lives that they find disturbing or upsetting or whatever, or that people have crossed lines or whatever. And I'm a fan of BTS, and I saw something with Jungkook, and I don't know if it was him, it was somebody reporting, so maybe it wasn't him, but I've kind of seen some things where, yeah, you don't go to somebody's houses. I think I've mentioned the fact that I grew up in an area where there was a lot of famous people, but there were people richer than the famous people, and you can tell them apart from regular people, and at the time anyway. And there was like this thing where if they were living there and they went out to eat with a friend who is also famous, you didn't get in their faces. You know, you might look over and say, "Oh, that's so and so," but you wouldn't like overdo it and insist on getting autographs and taking pictures and stuff like that. You just acknowledged it. And then some of the famous people wanted you to acknowledge them and take pictures and stuff like that. And almost go, oh, well, don't you know who, I'm kind of famous sometimes, Would you like a picture with me, But where I grew up, it wasn't like a thing to bother people who were famous. But I understand fans and fanatics, and I've never been like an over the top fan. I think BTS is David Bowie a little bit, and BTS and maybe the Moody Blues that, but I never really like I think I wrote a letter to David Bowie. I sent him a Christmas card when I was in my 20s. And it was just more like, really, thank you. I thought this card kind of fitted your vibe at the time. I thought it was a cool Christmas card, and I just want to tell you I appreciate you. That was about it. It wasn't like, and I'm going to track down where you live and come to your house and anything like that. I'm not that person. Um, And BTS is the same thing. Yeah, I don't think you should go to their homes, but then maybe they should have homes in places where people can't go to their homes. There's Beverly Hills where people take tours and they go in that so and so's house and so and so's house. Never been, but it sounds like there's some, distancing there and some way that you can protect yourself as a famous person. Um, and I've said that when I was way younger, I was on the edge of fame. I got a little bit, but I was on the edge of like big fame. And just the little taste that I got of people knowing you but not knowing you, people breaking through your space, thinking that you're friends because they saw you on stage or they saw you sing or they saw you dance, or they saw you act. That whole they saw you and now you're best friends. And you don't even know who they are. And that's scary. And then taking pictures of you or stalking you. I've had that happen too. And it wasn't even when I was really on the fame kind of train, but I was very young. I was actually a teenager or younger. So younger to teenage, but I decided by the time I was, I believe, 16, 17, that by the time I was 18, well before that, probably 16, 17, 18, that wasn't the life for me. That I wanted to be able to go grocery shopping or go to the beach or go to a music park or um, have lunch with friends without people getting in that space and thinking they knew me. And with paparazzi and people who've died because paparazzi were too aggressive, um, I think I made a wise choice. And I'm more of a private person. So I don't want people knowing everything about me, really. And when you're famous, that's really hard to do. You can do a little bit, but then you have kids and they want to know your kids, and like get married and they bother your partner. It's just you're if you're going to be famous and that's what you want to do with your life. I mean, you can be creative without being famous, and you can make good money being creative. I never did, but um, because I pulled so far back from that because I knew it wasn't the lifestyle. I knew there was a trade-off. There was everything you do, there's a yin and a yang, and there's a trade-off. There's two sides of the coin, something positive and something negative. And I knew that. And so I chose not to go down that path any further because it was already freaking me out. And then I tried things like I was a disc jockey for a while. And for a while, people didn't have to know my face, and I could still be entertaining and be on the radio. Um, then I started writing the books because, and I was in my early 20s when I started writing the books. And um, I realize that not every author has their picture, and they don't even usually use their real name, right? So there's a lot more anonymity, but I could still be creative and put my creativity out there. Um, so there's ways to do it, and there's compromises. It doesn't mean it's going to work. I knew where my talents lied, and I didn't want to have to work at them and focus on them so much that I I didn't love doing it anymore too, because there's some people who are really good at something and then that's all they're able to do all the time. And it's like, that's their life. And they begin to hate the thing that they loved. So there's a lot of reasons why I didn't go back down that path, but I understood what the exchange was. And I wasn't willing to give that up. Not that, like I said, not that I haven't had my picture taken and been stalked anyway. And I don't know why, because I'm not famous. But at least I have recourse because I'm not famous. But there's been some things that I've seen lately that, like, there was a thing that said my bias in BTS was out grocery shopping and was going to pick up some bananas, and somebody shoved a camera in their face and took their picture. And they said, yeah, I don't mind giving out autographs and taking pictures, but kind of give me some space sometime to be a normal person. Well, that's the trade off. Once you become famous, and if you're worldwide famous, you're not going to be able to be a normal person and do normal things. Now, I also heard a story that Michael Jackson at some point rented out a supermarket and hired some of his friends, got some of his friends to be shoppers in the supermarket. And he bought out the supermarket for a day just so he could experience grocery shopping in a normal environment without people bothering him. There's things that you can do when you have a lot of money. And if you think your life is going to be the same after you become really, really famous, it's not. It's a little bit different now with social media. That there's people who have um, millions of subscribers and are worldwide known, but you know, you might not always recognize them on the street. And again, like me, I try to do things to kind of not show you everything that I am. And then I make mistakes and then you see everything. But that's the trade-off of being famous. So you can't bitch about it. And then there's the lady who did, I don't know what her name is. I think she was in Spain and she was picking on BTS and I'm like, well, who are you? you just want to be more famous, but now people hate you, so now you're more infamous. And but then I was like on YouTube and I look at my little K dramas and Chinese dramas and stuff like that on YouTube and some of the AI dramas, but they suck so bad. Like it's not the story, there's a story there, but the storytelling is really bad. It's really bad. And the what do you call it? Execution is really bad. So, but I watch those and every once in a while there'll be something else. And I get different things from different things depending on what I'm looking at. And there was one guy that came up and he was a Korean boy and spoke really good English. You know, he was probably American Korean because he had attitude. And he was like, just because I'm Korean doesn't mean I'm a K-pop star. And you people like with BTS and the army, and you see that I'm Korean, and you comment in the post and stuff, and I don't need those comments, and I'm a this, and you shouldn't be, and fuck you, army, fuck you, BTS, fuck you, K-pop idol lovers and stuff. I'm not a K-pop idol, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like looking at him going, you have a lot of anger but you're getting attention because of these other people. Instead of being angry about the comments and everything, use it as a platform for what positivity you're trying to bring or what you're trying to create. I've never heard of you before. I've never seen you before. And you saying that there's all these people assuming you're like whatever, they're idols because you're Korean. Oh, boo hoo, you can make more money. Be a nice guy. Don't tell people to f off. You can politely correct them or you can talk to them. But if they are fanatical and stuff, then yeah, that's but you can be kind. And I don't even know who you are. And I didn't even comment or anything. I'm like, what is his problem? That was my whole thing. It's like I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna subscribe, I'm not gonna be part of you because you're telling people not to, and you're very angry about the people who associate you with other Korean things. Like what? Kimchi bulgogi? You know, um, dude, is that, do you have a problem being Korean yourself? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, my best friend growing up was half Korean. Her mama came from Korea. Her grandmother came from Korea and only spoke Korean. I learned some Korean back then. I forgot most of it now. But I thought my best friend was the most beautiful. I thought she was so beautiful. There were issues, but as we grew older, but I thought she was for who she was when she was herself and who she really is. She was a beautiful person, and I appreciated her. Um, and she was like my little sister. So even though we were the same age, she was like 2 months younger than me. So I don't know if it counts. But yeah. So to me, it's like, and I gravitate to all different cultures. In different cultures, I gravitate to different things. Why can't we appreciate each other? But he was on a rampage about being Korean and being associated with K-pop and BTS and how Army made comments and told them all to fuck off. And he was really angry in his post. And I'm just like, well, you're nobody. You're nobody. And you think you're famous, but you think you're famous for the wrong reasons. And the attention you put yourself out on YouTube and you're saying, "Oh, the attention I'm getting is not the attention I want." You don't get when you're actually famous, you don't get to pick and choose who appreciates you and who doesn't. You don't. You put your creativity out there and that's it. And you get what you get. And if you don't want those things, then stop making YouTube videos or clarify. You don't have to be yelling at people on YouTube because they commented on the post that you remind them of their K-pop idol or whatever. And you accept that graciously and say, hey, thanks a lot. Uh, I think he's good looking too. And so I guess you're calling me good looking. So I will take it as a compliment. But maybe some of these people are too young or too sheltered or inexperienced they or narcissistic. They want the world to run around them. They want the world to be what they want the world to be. And that's not what the world is. I want the world the way I want the world to be, but I want it to be a kinder place than it is, a more empathetic place than it is, a more evolved place than it is. And I feel like we're going back in time right now. But you can't. I'm going to put my glasses on because I made notes. Let's make sure I covered everything on being famous. Because, like I said, I had the opportunity to see people out there um, bitching about the side effects of being famous. I mean, I don't like it if they're lied about or they're accused of doing things that they didn't do, or somebody takes a picture of them and modifies it to make it look like something else, or takes a picture of them and puts a naked body on it when they weren't naked, and all of that stuff. I mean, I think there's some lines you just don't cross. You shouldn't, just because somebody's famous, it doesn't mean that you should trash them and lie about them. Now, if they actually do something, they should pay, just like anybody else. They shouldn't have the famous privilege, but for a long time, famous people have had a privilege of not having to pay the price and their kids and everything else. Let me take. So I talked about the trade-off about being famous. You make a choice when following your dreams. Every choice has a yin and yang. This is what I'm saying. Even semi-famous people can showing decorum, showing common sense. It's like the guy at the gym who came into the steam room or the sauna with his cell phone on speakerphone and was talking really loud in there with 8 other people in there, trying to just get a good sauna. And we knew everything about his life. So I started talking with them. Like, he's like, "Well, I don't know if I should do that." And his friend's like, "Well, maybe you shouldn't." And I'm like, "I agree with your friend. You shouldn't do that." "Oh, I see. It's her fault." I start doing that. If you're going to be in a place where there's other people, he goes, "This is a public space and there isn't any sign that says you can't talk on your cell phone in here and no cell phones." And I'm like, and this other lady goes, "It's common sense. It's common courtesy. They don't feel like they should have to put up a sign." And I'm in my head going, "Oh, it's kind of like, well, then there's no sign that says I can't shit in here, so why don't I just shit on you? You know, there's no sign that says I can't shit on you, so why don't I just shit on you?" Your logic is the same with your cell phone. But I also said, well, some people aren't ever going to get it. But if you're famous, you better know that there's positive and negatives. And you might have to deal with the negatives. And you shouldn't going in, you should go in with your eyes wide open that there's going to be some things you're going to have to deal with. Like when I left my ex-husband, I had nothing. And I had my daughter. And I knew it was going to be a struggle, and it still is. It hasn't gotten better, it's gotten worse. But I knew that walking away, and I made the choice of I would rather be living on the street than have anything to do with him ever again. That's how bad it was. And so you make those choices, and it's about choices and about walking into something with your eyes wide open, understanding what the downside is and figuring out a way to deal with it. But you can't sit there and bitch about it. You can't bitch about it. You can be sad about it, especially if it hurts somebody else. But you can't bitch about it. You made that choice to be famous. So bitching about it, whatever. What else did I have? Oh yeah. I'm into the guy that was Korean and was bitching about, and then I saw later on another kind of Korean dude bitching about being Korean associated with K-pop groups. And then I see other guys on there going, I'm trying to be a K-pop guy. And I play the violin. My gig is, but I'm one person. I'm a single artist. And my thing is I play the violin and sing. I'm like, cool. Keep trying out there. And then I heard some of them have done like plastic surgery and got nose inserts in their nose and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, you were so cute with it. All that stuff. But I like natural. Sue me. Um, you don't have to be rude. I said, yeah, the guy was, a few of these guys are angry. And I'm like, well, welcome to the world. Did you not know how the world worked? Um, you're going to get everybody if you're out there. Um, I'm not big enough to worry about it. Uh, it's kind of like me walking out in the world. When I was younger, especially the eyes and the smile and the youth that I had. And I always had the big boobs. And people assumed a lot about me with the big boobs. And people still do. But I deal with it. And sometimes they think you're stupid, especially now that I'm older. It's like you're old and you have big boobs and you're probably stupid. They assume that. Um, they assume that we want sex all the time. Do I appreciate sex? Yes, I do. Do I have to have it all the time? No. That's not what turns me on. But I'm not going to. Maybe this is for another time about what actually makes me feel something more. Like I've talked about working on my feelings, and to feel something more, I need more than just a physical thing. So, that soul thing. And we've talked about the soulmate that doesn't seem to be walking by anytime soon, and I'll probably die before I even realize I existed. Yeah, that's right, my soulmate will be looking at these videos long after I'm gone and go, I love her. She's my soulmate. And I'm like, I waited, but now I'm gone, dude. Yeah, it took too long getting here. But yeah, so we talked about that. But being famous, if you're thinking about going down that road at all, you got to know what you're losing to and what struggles you're going to have. That's just the way it is. Because not everybody is going to respect your space. Everybody's going to think that they know you and that you're best friends. Yeah, kind of sucks. But if you're only semi-famous and you have people who are fans of famous people, you could get more famous and get more exposure. But if you don't want it, you shouldn't be mad about it because you put yourself out there. Just really weird to me. Don't bitch about your fame. Don't bitch about, oh, people are bothering me because they recognize me because I'm famous. Duh. If you got big boobs on top of that, oh, watch out. You're in trouble. So that is my take on being famous. Ciao, Bellas.